Next, we
Next
have
up,
news. This is sort of DJI
yes,
related, but in a much cooler way.
yeah, anti-DJI related, if you want to say it like that, sort
Yeah,
of.
that's right. Anti
Um,
DJI.
so FPV.WTF, the team that brought us Margarine, the hack that gave us WTFOS, and the root hack on the goggles and all those kind of things, has
Hmm.
brought us Butter. And Butter is the new rollback tool and recovery tool that lets you roll back V2 goggles and root them. So if you were on a firmware that you couldn't roll back and you couldn't root and you were upset because you were like, DJI messed me up and they locked me into an old firmware and all this kind of stuff, now that is no longer the case. And you can root your V2 goggles that you couldn't root before, and you can recover also any bricked
This
hardware, which I
is,
also think is pretty important.
and I can personally vouch for this. By the way, this is the GitHub repo, and if you want to learn more about this, of course, it's linked down in the video description. I can personally vouch for this because, like a month ago, I don't remember the exact date, but it was before this released. I was working on the Flywoo Nano whatever, and I tried to root that Vista VTX, and for some, my battery died in the middle of the root, and for some reason it bricked the Vista. Like literally, it would not connect to USB. The light wouldn't come on. It was hard bricked, and Junis said, I can't really. This wasn't a direct quote. I don't want to misrepresent him, but he was like, "There's like one little 10 millisecond window, and I guess if you lost power during that window, it would brick them." He kind of wasn't sure how I bricked it, but I did. And he got on the computer. And if I hadn't had him, it would be a dead Vista, and I would just be screwed. But he said, "Look, we're working. This isn't public yet, but I'll do it for you." And he got on my computer remotely and he unbricked it. And I was like, this is so cool. I can't imagine how many people are going to be saved from losing from brick. I mean, not many people brick their hardware, but if you do brick it, it's so nice to be able to recover it. And it's so cool that a whole bunch of people who have older firmware and are locked out from being able to root now can roll back and root. It's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's huge stuff. Everybody's been waiting on this, asking for this for a long time, and they've been working in the background. And yeah, now that everything started to settle down a little bit from all the new firmware releases, they got this fix out. So we can't thank them enough over there. And one thing we'll let you know as well over there is, they do have a donation over there, Open
Mm-hmm.
Collective, that goes into a big pot, and they can spend on basically, I think a lot of it goes to hardware, for them to like buy stuff to root and work on.
Yeah.
And if they brick stuff, they can replace hardware. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely a good thing to dump in there if you're using their stuff.